Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mr. Manfredo. I've got a YouTube video for you today. Um, we are back in remote learning, and so I figured I would record a little YouTube video just because I have time going over today's assignment. So let's just take a look. It's not anything new. I figured since we are remote today that I would give you kind of a review so I don't have to give you guys an assignment that I wouldn't be teaching in person to one of my two groups. Um, so I'm just going to give you this review today, and we're going to go over it in this YouTube video. So as you can see, we're still on adjective clauses. Um, we've had a bunch of snow days here in a row, but you should still be familiar with a clause. We know a clause is just a group of words. It will always have a subject and a verb. But our two types of clauses, we have independent and dependent. And as you should remember, independents can stand on their own as a complete sentence, and dependents cannot. Well, now we are breaking it down even further. We have a different type of dependent clause. It's going to be dependent every single time, and they are adjective clauses. And so you should remember that an adjective clause functions the same as a regular adjective. It's just, more words put together. So rather than just a single adjective, it's a group of words put together that are functioning as an adjective. So um, you may remember that an adjective clause will always start with one of these five words right here, um, our relative pronouns. You also should remember relative quite literally just means pronouns that relate. Well, what are being related? The adjective clause with the noun that it's modifying, right? So if you get stuck and you can't find your adjective clause in a sentence, check and see if any of these five words are inside of that sentence, and that will be the beginning of your adjective clause. And you may also remember that in order to check your answer, since your adjective clause has to be a dependent clause, that everything else in the sentence that you don't think is that adjective clause must be able to stand alone as a as an independent clause, right? Because we have to have one of each in order for that to be a complete sentence. So if you have a dependent clause, it has to have an independent clause attached to it for it to be a complete sentence. So let's take a look down here. Your homework looks very similar to your last homework in that all I need you to do is type the adjective clause in these blanks below. So we'll do one of these together. Let's see. Let's just do number one because it's nice and simple. Um, all I need you to do is type that adjective clause in the blank down here, and they will always begin with a relative pronoun. So if we get confused, these are our five relative pronouns: that, which, who, whom, and whose. And so if we see any of those five in the sentence, we know that is where our adjective clause will begin. So number one, Timmy has a dog that keeps him entertained all day. Well, I can right off the bat see that we have one of those relative pronouns smack dab in the middle of the sentence right here. And so I think a safe bet would be to say maybe our adjective clause probably ends at the end of the sentence since there's no commas or anything in the sentence. So we'll start here. We'll just assume that this is our adjective clause right here. As we remember, an adjective clause has to be dependent. And so let's go ahead and check this. That keeps him entertained all day. That is a dependent clause. It doesn't make sense as a complete sentence by itself. But let's go ahead and check everything else to see if it is independent. So Timmy has a dog. We have a subject right here. We have our verb in has right here. And this makes complete sense. Timmy has a dog, can stand alone by itself. It is independent. And so since this just confirmed our answer, our adjective clause, which is a dependent clause, can be that keeps him entertained all day. And it's as simple as that, people. If you have any questions, be sure to send me an email. I'm going to be here at school all day during regular hours. So if you get confused on anything, please let me know. But just keep in mind that your adjective clauses will always begin with one of these relative pronouns right here, such as that with example one. But you'll have some whiches, some whos, some whoms, and maybe some whoses as well. So just keep that in mind as you're looking at your examples. That's always where your clauses will begin. And best of luck to you. Feel free to reach out if you need assistance.